Alright everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to play the intro to Jimi Hendrix's version of Killing Floor that he plays at Stockholm. If you're interested in the Monterey version, I did that one too, and you can find that in my channel. Note that in this concert he's tuned down a whole step, which is different from the usual half step. But in this little lesson here, I'm still going to be referring to this as the low E string, the A string, D string, G string, B string, and the high E string. Okay, so the beginning of this piece goes like this. Okay, we begin by going over to the 5th fret, and on the low E string, we're going to fret the low E string with our thumb. Okay, then we're going to go over to the 8th fret, same string, bend, then back to the 5th fret low E string. We do this back and forth on the D string between the 5th and 7th fret. That goes like that's how it's gonna go, but you're gonna be playing that alongside the open A string, so it sounds like. Okay, so we have. We repeat that once over. Second time around, I like to hang on to the D string on the 7th for a little while longer, like so. Okay, so we're moving on to the next part, and it goes like so. I'm going to play it slowly. Okay, that's the slowed down version of what's actually going on in the recording, and the tabs for that I will put up in a second. It's a little bit overwhelming at first glance, so let's first take a look at a smaller chunk of this repeating riff. So that's what it looks like. That's the essentials of what's going on, and this is going to be easier to take in while we work on the actual positioning of our fretting hand. It's a little bit particular. If you've ever played or learned to play Foxy Lady, that's a really good starting point. So we got right, and what's going on there is that we're fretting the low E string on the 5th fret with our thumb. We're going to be taking our ring finger on the D string 7th fret. Now you want to position it so that the tip of your ring finger is lightly resting on the A string to keep it muted. So we have right, and then we're going to be using our pinky to fret the low E and B string on the 8th fret. Okay, we can do all of those things without really moving our fretting hand very much at all. And now the trick here when we're playing this piece is that the D string 7th fret using your ring finger is just, it keeps going, it's doing its own thing. So while you have that rhythm going, you're going to be inserting these notes that you're fretting with your thumb and pinky. Right, in a way you're kind of clamping down with your thumb and pinky, and because this riff is repeated so many times going forward, I'm just going to refer to that riff as the clamp. So again, you're going to be clamping down with your thumb, low E string, 5th fret, at the same time that you're fretting the bar chord on the 8th fret with your pinky. Let me play through what I think is happening in the recording slowly. All right, one more time. You got. Alright, that's what it sounds like. I'll play it sped up next, and I'll also include the part that we just covered so you can see how it transitions, and then I'll play a little bit of the part coming after. So we got okay, so the tail end of that last part, what's that about? Okay, what we're doing here is that we're going over to the B string, 5th fret, index finger, D string, or sorry, G string, 7th fret. We're going to be using our ring finger, and we're doing what's known as a unison bend. Okay, so that's a G string being bent until it sounds like the note on the 9th fret, which is the same note as the B string 5th fret. Okay, and then we bend it down back to the 7th fret, and then we pull off onto the 5th fret on the G string. Okay, after that we're going to be hammering on to the D string 7th fret and pulling off. So we got, so you're just hammering on with your hand. There's no, after the unison bend, you're not actually strumming the strings. You're just hammering on with your ring finger, 7th fret D string, pulling off, and doing the same thing on the A string right after. So slowly. Okay. So once we do that, we come down with this vicious down pick on the bar chord with the B and G string on the 5th fret, like so. Okay, pause, and then the same thing over, but an up pick, or at least that's the way he does it in the actual video. So once we do that, we get back into that riff, that clamping riff that we covered just a second ago. Alright, so you're familiar with that, and he does that, and he does this riff next. It goes like, pretty cool. So we're going to position our hand just like we did before we did that unison bend, but before we bend it up, we're actually just going to strike those notes. So B string 5th fret, G string 7th fret, then we do the full bend. Bring it back down, bend it back up again, and then we punctuate it with this quick hammer on and pull off from the 5th fret G string to the 7th. So that last part is, alright, so I'll play through this part slowly. Plugging along, the next part goes like this. Alright, so we're riffing on something pretty similar to what we were doing earlier. We got that clamping riff that we went over. The hand positioning is the same, so the thumb's going to be hanging over the 5th fret to fret the low E string. We got the D string 7th fret with a ring finger, and our pinky for the low E and B string on the 8th fret. But rather than clamping down with our thumb and pinky simultaneously, there's like this tag teaming relationship. Meanwhile, as usual, the 7th fret D string is just doing its own thing. It's always going to be there. You're kind of just inserting these notes in between each other. It's hard for me to explain, so I think it'll be easier if I just play the riff very slowly and with exaggeration, like so. Okay, let's stop there. You see what I'm doing there? We got just the low E string, 5th fret, and then we bring in that riff. So we got the D string and the bar chord at the pinky, bar chord with the pinky at the 8th fret. just the low E string. Okay, then we just got only the D string. Right, one more time. Okay, so what I did there near the end was this slide with that bar chord on the 8th fret to the 10. Is how we're going to finish off this section. So it is a little bit awkward to slide with your pinky. You don't have to. You could use your index finger and hammer on. I feel like there's a slide going on in the actual recording, so that's the way I do it. So you're going to slide to the 10th. Right? Do it once more. Back to the 8th. Okay, and then a bar chord at the 7th fret D and G string. Then to the 5th bar chord. Okay, and then pretty straightforward from here. We got low E string 5th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret A string, hammer on and pull off from the 5th to the 7th. Right, back to the 8th fret low E string. Back to the 5th fret low E string, and then this thing here. Okay, that's just a hammer on from the 5th to the 7th on the D string with the A string joining in. So let me play slowly from that pinky slide. We got now this part was a little bit messy. It still sounds cool when he does it, so let me just play through the part that we just covered from beginning to end. We got okay, this is it. This is the moment you've been waiting for. What in the actual fuck is going on here? I don't know. Your guess is good as mine. But I know it sounds cool. Sounds cool as hell when he plays it. So this is more or less just what I think is going on. Okay? Okay, well, we'll get to that last part in a second. Let's just manage what's in front of us here. Try to break it down this way. There's a couple things going on. Let's start with the D string. We're on the 5th fret. We got this back and forth to the 7th fret, like we've seen before. But you kind of emphasize the note on the 7th fret a little bit more. So just a D string of what I played sounds like this. Okay, so that's from the 5th to the 7th, 5th to the 7th, 5th to the 7th of the D string. Meanwhile, on the low E string, you've got just this going on. So you're just hammering on to the 5th fret of the low E string, then playing it open, and hammering it on again. Right? And meanwhile, the A string is just caught in the middle, just getting beat while you're trying to juggle those two things here. Okay, so when you look at what I've tabbed out for you, it is a little bit odd looking, so let's just play through it slowly. You're going to begin with the open E and A string, hammering on with the thumb there on the 5th fret. So when you do that, you're going to be muting the A string. So, and then we got the D string, 7th fret, played twice with the low E and A string open. Okay. So we got. Alright. That's more or less it. So now we're going to be placing our index finger on the D string 5th fret. We're going to be fretting that note plus the open A string and low E string again. And then we're going to hammer on again with our thumb at the 5th fret. Like that. Alright, so hopefully that's getting in there. So we got the open A string and the E string. Hammer on with the 5th. Then the D string, 7th fret. 5th fret, D string, hammer on again. Okay, so try to get that down slowly and worry about speeding it up later. So slowly it'll sound like. Alright, it does sound, it is harder to play slowly. It's once you get into the rhythm of it, you can do this type of thing. Alright, I'm screwing around there, but basically at the end we're doing that riff in consistent time. Then I think he's just really chugging along and speeding it up and just cramming it all in to make it sound like. And then he kind of snaps out of it with this part here. Alright, so once you have that part down, you break into this next piece. So this part, you're pretty much in the clear. This is simple stuff now. We got the low E string 5th fret, that bar chord on the 8th, D string 7th fret, bar chord again, low E string, now only once with the bar chord, right? Then back to the 5th fret low string. Alright, so two muted strums after the 5th fret low E string. Then we get into this repeating riff. Play that 3 times. So we got the low E, 5th string, 8, then A string, 5th fret, 6, 7. We're walking it up. We repeat that 3 times, and we conclude with. That's the open E string, ring finger on the 7th fret, A string, middle finger on the D string 6th fret, and we have our pinky at the 7th fret, G string, and our index finger on the 5th fret, B string. Okay, and that's it. That is the intro to Killing Floor, as I interpret it, that or the Stockholm version at least. If you have comments, go ahead and leave them. Clarification, I'll do my best, maybe in the comments, but yeah, that's it.